Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into IFFGD's Research Award Winner Series, Where Are They Now? This program was designed not only to acknowledge our past Research Award winners, but also to give us a chance to recognize this year as being IFFGD's 30th anniversary. So today we actually have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Ronnie Fass, who is our 2011 IFFGD Research Award winner for Senior Investigator in Clinical Science. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Fass.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure, and happy birthday or happy anniversary.
Awesome. Thank you so much for acknowledging that. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also maybe where you're currently located and your current career in research focus?
Yeah, so I'm currently located in Cleveland. I'm based at Metro Health Medical Center, where I am the medical director of the Digestive Health Center here. I'm also the director of the Division of Gastroenterology and Hepatology, and I am the head of the Esophageal and Swallowing Center. In addition, I'm also a professor of medicine at Case Western Reserve University. I've been here for the last 8 years. Before that, I was for about 18 years at University of Arizona in Tucson. And my area of interest has been always the esophagus, but specifically motility and functional esophageal disorders. Both of these were my main focus and remain my main focus over the years.
Yeah, and we can't wait to get into detail about some of those focuses here, but can you briefly touch on kind of sort of what it meant to you to win the IFFGD Research Award in 2011, and also maybe how it kind of impacted your career?
So that was a major milestone in my career, winning that award, because it provides a few things: recognition for the hard work that you do, and academic career and academic research is an area that requires a lot of hard work. And I think this is some of the positive things that we get along the way that recognize this hard work that we're doing and the achievements that we make. In addition, it was a tremendous support for my research. Even though I was a senior investigator at the time, still there was an immense support for my career and for my research, and a push to keep going. So you're not just kind of relaxing and enjoy the award, but rather it's time to keep going and do some more research.
Yeah, just a great acknowledgement for, like you said, all of the hard work that you've done over the years. And obviously right now that you're not done conducting research. And, that's the exciting part. So you've briefly touched on some of your area of focus, but can you tell us a little bit about some of the current research studies that you might have going on right now in your lab?
So we're currently doing close to 25 different research projects. And I'm working with a team. I have a group of people that work with me and do research in different areas. Our focus remains in the area of esophageal disorders. Our focus right now is primarily functional esophageal disorders, especially the area of functional heartburn and reflux hypersensitivity, looking at mechanisms, diagnosis, and recently looking at the therapeutic approaches to these patients. We're still interested very much in the area of gastroesophageal reflux disease. We're looking at various aspects of it. We're very interested in gastroesophageal reflux disease during nighttime, the effect of gastroesophageal reflux disease on patients' quality of life, but specifically on patients' sleep experience. We're very interested also in the association of gastroesophageal reflux disease with a variety of other disorders. We've seen a lot of interesting information coming from some of our research in relation to gastroesophageal reflux disease and its association with psychiatric psychological disorders. Recent work, also correlation and association with autism, as well as many others. We're also very interested in the area of esophageal motility. We have some interest in looking at the development of new ways to evaluate esophageal function. So beyond the current technology that we have, which is high resolution esophageal manometry. And we started in the last year to incorporate some very new cutting edge techniques that some of them are not yet FDA approved, but we started to incorporate them through research and studies into our practice, like the endoflip and mucosal impedance, and many, many others.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And you touched on just a little bit too, just about some of the research focus there. But can you briefly explain to us what you hope to gain a better understanding about by doing those research studies, and maybe what this might help you understand about the GI conditions in adults and children?
So the purpose of this research obviously is to better understand different esophageal disorders, especially in the area of functional esophageal disorders and abnormal esophageal motor disorders. The hope is that, one, we can come up with better techniques to evaluate and provide better diagnosis for our patients. Even now, we made tremendous progress over the years, and I've seen it throughout my career, but still there's more work to be done. And so we're trying to further improve our diagnostic capabilities, making much more accurate diagnosis for our patients. We're also looking for ways to make better therapeutic decisions in these patients and find out what is the best way to take care of these of their problems, because we do know that in these areas that I mentioned, these are still considered to be areas of unmet need. That means that there's still a lot of work to be done, especially when it comes to therapeutic options.
Yeah, and like you said, the unmet needs of some of those in the patient community, and just the symptom burden in general that is also in correlation with some of these disorders that you are talking about. We all know that research is very important, and every study is really important in order for us to gain a better understanding about GI conditions or any chronic illness. But what would you consider being your most successful research study, and why?
Oh, that's a very tough question. But I think one of the areas that I really thought was very successful was a string of studies that I've done over a period of 10 years that evaluated the effect and the relationship between gastroesophageal reflux disease and sleep efficiency. This area was not well studied. There was a lot of research opportunity in that area, but at the same time, this area is extremely important for our patients. And we felt that our work over the years, and we published numerous studies in that area, and the last one I think was published a year ago, that help us to clearly identify the relationship between gastroesophageal reflux disease and sleep abnormalities. It helps us to determine the bidirectional relationship between these two, and helped us to try and determine what is the best way to approach these patients that have this problem. It also was important to bring it out there to the scientific community because it was very important to emphasize to our clinicians that when you see patients with gastroesophageal reflux disease, don't forget to ask them about their sleep experience, because at the end of the day, it's part of how they perceive their quality of life.
Yeah, and it's definitely, and like what you said, it is definitely it has a major impact on the quality of life. in the fact that you guys really raise awareness about the fact that this is a problem and it is a burden for that patient population is very key. And just thank you so much for bringing acknowledgement to that area of research. So we talked a little bit too, just about the 2011 research award that you won with IFFGD, but can you also touch on some of the other acknowledgements that you might have received while being a researcher?
So I've received many acknowledgments over the years for being a researcher, including acknowledgement that were coming from societies, that from institutions, the institution that I work with, from national organizations. The list is very long of many of these acknowledgements in different fashions and ways from international societies. I think the last one was back in March, just a few weeks before my hospital went into lockdown because of the corona. I was invited to Mexico City to be recognized for my research and teaching by the Mexican Neurogastroenterology and Motility Society. And it was an amazing event where we received plaques and we were recognized, myself and several other scientists in the research that we've done over the years.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you've worked very closely with IFFGD to really help us with patient educational material in order to help educate the general public, especially about GERD and other GI, upper GI motility disorders. So just hearing your list of acknowledgments, I mean, it's a testament to all that you have done in the field in order to help advance the field as well. So a great congratulations is extended to you, especially for your most recent award there in March. So you've talked a little bit too, just about the passion that you have behind researching and why it is crucial to research in certain areas that are specifically burden areas for the patient population. But what do you enjoy the most about being a researcher?
I cannot see my career other way if I did not have the research component into it. The ability to challenge the current dogma by asking scientific questions, by asking research question, it's very fulfilling. I think it's something that I felt during my career that it makes every day very interesting. You're very excited to go to work because you know you're exploring new areas, new avenues, new ideas. And I think the most exciting thing is that you do research, you get great results, and then what you do becomes a standard of care. You are able to change the current thinking, the current practice, and it trickles down all the way to the practicing physicians. Then you know that you achieved major progress in your research, that you made difference, so, you know, in how we think, in how we treat, in how we manage.
Yeah, that's a very, very great quote there from you, just about your enjoyment of research and honestly, that your passion behind it. It definitely shows in all of your work. So we talked throughout this whole thing just about some of your research studies and all the things that you've done in the past and that you're currently working on. But in the field as a whole, what do you see as being some of the gap needs still in research? And how do you foresee some of the these gap needs being fulfilled in your lab?
I can talk, I mean, there are many gaps in the area of GI. I'm a gastroenterologist. My area of interest is obviously neurogastroenterology and functional bowel disorders, and another area that has tremendous amount of of gaps that there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
I think specifically in my area of interest, which is esophageal disorders, I would say that still in many of the parts that I was working on, there's still a lot of work to do. The tools that we have to evaluate patients, they still need to be further refined. So we don't have the best tools to determine patients' disorders and abnormalities. We've made tremendous progress over the years, and we're making more and more progress over a shorter period of time in the last, I'd say, couple of decades. But still, we don't have the perfect tools. So that constantly remains an area of investigation. We have to further identify not only the treatment and management of disorders, but also underlying mechanisms. Why patients develop those disorders, why patients develop esophageal motor disorders. In many of these disorders, we don't know the underlying mechanism. Still, the areas that needs to be explored. The same thing in many of the functional esophageal disorders. We don't know what really triggers them. And so there's still a lot of work needs to be done. Obviously, again, with better refined tools. And then at the end of the day, many of our therapeutic options for many of the esophageal motor disorders, as well as the functional esophageal disorders, remain non-specific. And they were not developed specifically for these disorders, but they are available out there. Many of them are not even indicated to those disorders. So there's still a lot of work need to be done in order to identify more specific therapeutic options for these disorders for our patients.
Yeah, so really just raising awareness about a lot of the things that are burdensome for the patient population, just really raising awareness about that so that researchers can investigate in those areas and know to investigate in those areas as well, huh? Yeah. So I know we're just really excited to be able to do this program with you. So thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to everyone who has tuned in to IFFGD's Research Award Winner Series, Where Are They Now? Today we had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Ronnie Fass, and we can't thank you enough for providing us with your time today.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure. And what IFFGD has been doing with patients and obviously with the scientific community is commendable. And I really hope that you will continue what you're doing because you're an important part of the patient community and the scientific community.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Fass, for that acknowledgement.